Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3, back once again with the 3 count with SP3 for December 6, 2019. It is a Friday. Happy Friday to you all if you've made it through the work week. If you've been enjoying all the Tru Heel Heat that you've been getting on our YouTube channel, we want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're a new viewer, thank you for, watching this video. Push that subscribe button because there's a bunch of other content to enjoy. But I am here to break down all the news coming out of December 6, 2019. So for this 3 count with SP3, we're going to be going over a couple of MLW notes coming out of the MLW Opera Cup that I was live at last night in New York City. We're going to talk about Week 10 ratings for the Wednesday Night Wars between AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT on USA. We're going to be talking about Bandido, no showing the AAA event, and then signing with CMLL. We talked about that on Tru Heel Heat 56. That's going to be up on the YouTube channel this weekend, so check that out as well. So let's get into this 3 count with SP3, starting off with MLW Major League Wrestling. Last night was the Opera Cup, great event in Melrose Ballroom in New York City, but the notes that we're going to talk about is more about signings and firings from MLW. Recently, MLW has been in the news with re-signing MLW Heavyweight Champion Jacob Fatu of the Contra Unit, as well as former MLW Heavyweight Champion Filthy Tom Lawler. And now they have hired a very controversial figure in professional wrestling, especially here in 2019, the one, the only, the artist formerly known as Jordan Miles, ACH. ACH returned to MLW last night in Melrose Ballroom in New York City. A shocking return. He came out to help out King Mo against the Injustice group of Cotto Brazil, Jordan Oliver, and the MLW middleweight champion Myron Reed. It was a tag team match between ACH and King Mo versus Injustice. Following that, ACH and King Mo were victorious. So ACH is back in MLW. They announced following the event that he will appear in Dallas, Texas for MLW's next big event in January, MLW 0 Hour. So I'm very happy for ACH. He is a guy that had a lot of controversy around him. I had a lot of opinions on the way he approached a lot of the situation. I said that the fault of the WWE was the design in general was a lot of short-sightedness and a lot of lack of representation in the WWE marketing department or merchandise department or WWE shop, whoever you want to point the blame on. There's just a lack of representation that depiction of a blackface was even approached to ACH to even get clearance on or approval for. I just think that it was just a clear lack of representation, but ACH definitely handled the whole situation completely wrong. A month after the t-shirt was taken down from WWE shop, he made a big fuss about it, caused a whole Twitter war, and then the way he left the company. But it seems that they have parted ways officially. He is now with MLW. I don't know if he's going to sign long-term or full-time with MLW, but he is signed on the dotted line to appear at MLW 0 Hour in January. One person who is not signed to be at MLW 0 Hour, and this one comes as a little surprise, but not really when we further divulge into this story. It's former MLW middleweight champion Teddy Hart. MLW announced following MLW Opera Cup in New York City, conspicuous by his absence was Teddy Hart, and MLW put out a release on their Twitter page, on all their social media platforms, that former MLW middleweight champion Teddy Hart has come to terms with his release from MLW. It's very much of surprise to me, but then when I kind of found out a little bit more about this story, it did not come as a surprise. Apparently, Teddy Hart has been involved in a little bit of controversy concerning a young lady named Samantha Fiddler. Samantha Fiddler is a Canadian woman who went missing several years ago, and apparently Teddy Hart has been involved in this story of why she went missing. Teddy Hart released a tweet. This was about exactly a month ago, on November 6, 2019. He said, "I want to address some of the things that have been said about me in the past few days. Please read if you have a moment. Samantha and I had both a personal and although brief, and professional relationship, which began when I first met her in Edmonton. She wanted to be a professional wrestler and did my best to train her before she decided to pursue other interests. Samantha was a good-hearted person and someone I care for. She also had a lot of things going on in her life and issues with which she was dealing with that extended beyond our relationship. By the time she moved to Florida, in regards to chasing rants. So this is like a very detailed tweet. It goes a little bit further. He said he's made many mistakes in his life, and I'm sure I will make more in the future. Unfortunately, I cannot change the past. I have paid my debt to society, including time in jail, and I will have to live with the consequences of my actions for the rest of my life and all the judgments that come with it." He apparently kind of denies his involvement with the allegations and the situation regarding Samantha Fiddler. He also brings up Chase Rance, which was another person that apparently allegations were about him as well. So it was a lot of controversy regarding Teddy Hart recently. Also, he was dropped. He was supposed to make appearances with Limitless Wrestling and Alpha One, which was canceled within the last week. So a lot of people are speculating that MLW just wanted to separate their name from the Teddy Hart controversy that is going on right now. That is kind of a disappointment to me. Teddy Hart and the new Hart Foundation were one of the top acts and draws for MLW to me. Brian Pillman Jr. as well as Davey Boy Smith Jr. along with Teddy Hart, the new Hart Foundation was one of the premier groups in MLW. So I'm kind of sad to see this. He is a former MLW middleweight champion as well as MLW tag team champion, and they seem to be leading to him and Jacob Fatu leading into a feud following the last MLW Saturday Night Super Fight pay-per-view. It seemed like the Contra Unit versus Hart Foundation was the next direction. I don't know how this is gonna turn out because of this situation, but I am definitely interested to see. So that is the notes from MLW coming out of the Opera Cup. Please post a comment down below what you guys think about ECH returning to MLW and the interesting controversy around Teddy Hart and his release from MLW as well. So for the second count, we got to get into Week 10 ratings for the Wednesday Night War between AEW Dynamite and NXT. This is a close, very, very close race now. Only 6,000 viewers separate AEW Dynamite on TNT and NXT on USA. AEW finished the night with 851,000 viewers. The 18 to 49 demographic, they finished with a .32. NXT finished with 845,000 viewers, and the 18 to 49 demo was at a .29. Both shows gained in viewership. NXT ended last week with 813,000 viewers. They won last week, and they were up this week by about 30,000 viewers. And AEW finished with 663,000 viewers last week, and they are up big time with 851,000, almost 200,000 more viewers this week. So we talked about this a lot on Tru Heel Heat 56, me and Top Guy JJ. Top Guy JJ was a little bit concerned about AEW falling below the 7,000 viewer mark. I was not as concerned as he. I did think that it was a bad sign for AEW, but these numbers kind of reflect that it was just a 1 week thing, that it was just the Thanksgiving holiday caused a lot of people. But a lot of the things in the breakdown that I want to talk about is in the NXT number. NXT number is definitely a positive, and they should take it as a success. all the weeks leading up ever since the go home show from Survivor Series have looked good for NXT, honestly. NXT got the big win in the go home show for Survivor Series against AEW due to Raw and SmackDown superstars being advertised at the end of Monday Night Raw. They followed that up with all that momentum that they got from Survivor Series weekend coming out of NXT TakeOver War Games, defeating Raw and SmackDown in Survivor Series and won last week, and then the number is up again this week, so they can definitely take that as a positive. But what I've seen in the numbers is that NXT started out very high. They beat AEW in the first segment, which is a little bit of surprise. AEW started off hot with the Young Bucks and Dustin Rhodes going up against the Inner Circle, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz, Proud and Powerful, while NXT started off with Killian Dane versus Pete Dunne. Although they had a pretty good match, in my opinion, I believe that the six-man tag was just a much better match. It was probably the best match on Wednesday, although I did feel that NXT had the better overall show. There was a couple of low points on the AEW show that I kind of didn't like. I'm just gonna out and out say it. AEW had too much going on in commercials that weren't talked about on the actual show. They had too many dark stables going on with the Dark Order, then the Butcher, the Bloody, and the Blade, as well as Brandy Rose and the Nightmare Collective. Just too many dark stables all together, and then the audio issues at the start of the show during the six-man tag definitely affected viewership in that first segment. To me, I think that reflected in the numbers that I saw. But in the last 2 weeks for NXT, their highest numbers have been in their first segment, and then their numbers and their viewership has gradually gone down since then. So to me, and to a lot of people that are analyzing these ratings and analyzing the numbers, it's to me seeming like the fans are watching NXT to see if Raw and SmackDown people are going to be on again, and then as the show goes on and they notice that it's not going to have Raw and SmackDown guys on it, they lose the viewership. Although they do come back at the overrun, because when AEW goes off, about tens of thousands of viewers go to watch NXT because there's a lot of just true professional wrestling fans that are watching AEW, and then they just go to NXT because it's the only wrestling that's still on. So it's a lot of interesting numbers. We're going to talk about it more on Tru Heel Heat 57. We're going to be back Tru Heel Heat live this coming Thursday, right on Facebook Live on the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, as well as the Tru Heels group page. But you can check us out right here on our YouTube channel. Next weekend, we'll have Tru Heel Heat 57 up, and like I said before, we'll have Tru Heel Heat 56 up this weekend. So for the third count of the 3 count with SP3 for December 6, 2019, we got to talk about Bandido. Bandido has been one of the hottest superstars, the hottest professional wrestlers outside of the major companies of AEW and WWE, or even he's done well in New Japan. He's done great in PWG. He was one of the shining lights of ROH in 2019. As we know, ROH hasn't had a lot of shining lights. But yes, Bandido has been definitely one of them. He has been a part of the stable known as Lifeblood with ROH. But recently, he was supposed to be on the AAA event on December 1st called AAA Triple Mania Reject, which featured Dragon Lee going one-on-one with Kenny Omega for the AAA Mega Championship. Bandido and Flamita were supposed to be on this show, but no-showed the event. Both superstars have been basically known to be kind of lower on the card on the AAA events, mostly due to their lack of being able to come to a deal with AAA. That's why they've been so low on the card and haven't risen higher up, especially for Bandido, a superstar of his caliber, should be higher up on the AAA card. But because of his not signing a long-term deal, that has affected that. So he no-showed this event. It was a big baseball stadium show. Over so many people were there live, and apparently Bandido instead showed up at CMLL Arena Mexico show on November 29th, just a few days before that. After the third match concluded for that event, we talked about it on Tru Heel Heat 56, Bandido signed officially with CMLL. So This is very interesting story. I did think Bandido of a person that would make these kind of moves, no showing the AAA event, then also showing up at CMLL and then signing his deal afterwards. This causes a little bit of a rift, but it is an interesting story because CMLL did not sign Bandido to a full-time deal. So although he is going to be working with CMLL in 2020, he still has the potential to work with Ring of Honor. He could still stay in Ring of Honor, or he can also sign full-time with New Japan Pro Wrestling to kind of split his time between CMLL and New Japan, who have a good relationship between each other. And although that CMLL and AEW don't work together, Bandido could still potentially sign with AEW and make appearances with All Elite Wrestling. Although All Elite Wrestling works with AAA and it would muddy the waters a little bit, you can potentially see all of these situations happening. So Bandido is a guy to keep your eyes on in professional wrestling, Tru Heels. You got to keep your eyes on Bandido. He's a great professional wrestler. He had some of the best matches of 2019, especially against Will Ospreay at WrestleCon during WrestleMania 35 weekend, as well in the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. He's had great matches with Jay Lethal, as well as great tag team matches with the Briscoes and ROH. So he's a guy that is exciting. He's great in the ring. He's one of the most amazing wrestlers as far as like high-flying lucha style. Bandido is a guy to watch when it comes to that, but also we got to keep an eye on him as it comes to his moves behind the scenes and who, which, and where we're going to see him next. Which company is going to lock down Bandido is something interesting to keep our eyes on. So that has been the 3 count with SP3 for December 6, 2019. You need to post your comment down below to let us know what you think about everything going on in the professional wrestling world. Whether that's MLW hiring ACH, one of the most controversial figures of 2019 in professional wrestling, and as well as firing Teddy Hart in the controversy surrounding him. Week 10 ratings of the Wednesday Night Wars, and what you guys think about the big night coming up on December 18th. Both shows, AEW and NXT, are pushing for December 18th. NXT has Shayna Baszler versus Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship, as well as Adam Cole versus either Keith Lee, Finn Balor, or Tommaso Ciampa, while AEW has a first-time one-on-one matchup of the La Championnate, Chris Jericho, going one-on-one with Jungle Boy. Which show do you think is going to rate higher in 2 weeks' time, and what do you think about the Week 10 ratings? And of course, post your comment down below for our 3rd count talking about Bandido. Where do you see Bandido? Do you see his time in CMLL going well? Do you see this no-show of AEW coming back to AAA coming back to bite him, or do you potentially see him in ROH or back in New Japan or even in AEW? So post your comment down below. If you like this video, press that like button, support us, and share this video with your wrestling friends. We all have wrestling friends, and I am your new one. I am your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. If you haven't already, push that subscribe button and enjoy all of the 3 count with your latest news, up-to-date news. And there's so much news going on in the professional wrestling world. I'm going to give you one more 3 count for this weekend. This weekend, so much wrestling news, so much wrestling to watch, and SP3 is here to deliver it to you. So I am your Tru Heel Phenom SP3 for the 3 count with SP3 for December 6, 2019. Signing off until next time.